from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So, do I have behind me the shot of the green?
Yeah, Park Square, yeah.
Yeah, and so what
it's
you
a bit
see,
foggy.
Yeah, what you see, folks, is what you get. If you are just waking up, please leave yourself some extra time for travel this morning. It is extremely foggy out there.
That's why I put it up today.
Thank you. Yeah, it is crazy foggy. You know, it's interesting, Pete, because a lot of times it's foggy in West Springfield, and by the time I get down to Route 20, you know, where Little George's is, it's already started to break, and as I head into Westfield, it's clear. I can never understand that. West Springfield always seems to be foggier. Not so today, folks. It's like driving through.
The whole valley is foggy
Oh,
today.
my gosh. It's like driving through pea soup right now. I mean, I assume it'll improve as the sun comes up, but right now, if you're going to be heading out within the next hour or so, you know, especially since we changed the clock, so it's still pretty dark out there, just leave yourself some extra time, because it took me, I was way on time. I was like more on schedule than I usually am, Pete, and still, it just because I had it just took longer to get here. So
yep. It rained a lot overnight. So
did it really? What? I went to bed fairly early. Thank goodness.
I didn't. So I'm lagging this morning, and I have hour back after this, and I got meetings tonight, and I need a nap this afternoon.
It's going to be a long day. All right, so let's talk about, were there any meetings last night, Pete, or were you able to?
Yes, just off-street parking, but that was quick. That was about a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, that's not a bad length for a meeting.
Nope, but unfortunately, City Council is also St. Patrick's Day, so that's a problem for me this year.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's right. Yes, and I'm wearing speaking of St. Patrick's Day, I'm wearing my Ireland t-shirt today because today is our Lucky Leprechaun luncheon over at the Curbside Luncheon at the Senior Center. Unfortunately, if you did not sign up for it, it's too late. We are sold out. So we have 200 people coming through the line today. So be patient, but I believe that Mayor McCabe is going to be helping us to distribute meals,
nice.
And I think Senator Vilas will be paying us a visit. He plans to stop by, so it should be a really fun time. I had one woman who called me yesterday, late in the afternoon, and she said, I can't remember if I signed up or not, and so I said, well, let me go check the list, and I said, well, unfortunately, you did not, and it is too late now. My kitchen crew, it was busy at work. Corned beef is cooking. I stopped by the Senior Center on my way in this morning, so all is well over there, but we will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day and leprechauns and the like throughout, today and tomorrow, probably Friday, into the weekend. They have the parade this weekend. The Holyoke St. Patrick's Day Parade is back. I assume the road race is back. I haven't really heard much about that, but
Yes,
I
it is
assume
back,
that the road race is back as well, which would be on Saturday. So I'm not sure what the weather is going to be like Saturday.
Actually, the weather's supposed to be getting warmer this
I know
weekend.
it's going to get warmer. But are they expecting some rain? I know
I think rain was Friday.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that would be not too terrible.
Right.
Okay. So Pete, meeting-wise, any meetings going on tonight that we need to know about?
I believe it's traffic commission tonight.
Okay. All right.
I think that's.
So
I think
that's-
the
so
only
that's
thing
it.
I'm responsible for. I think
Yep.
historical's meeting tonight and something else. But that I find it out like everybody else on the city's website.
Yep.
Because my calendar now that for the conference broadcast has gotten so convoluted with stuff that they put in as repeats, and so I don't trust it anymore. I go to the city website. If the media hasn't been posted, the meeting doesn't exist.
Got it. Yeah.
That's
well,
kind of where I'm at.
those are the rules.
Yeah.
So, we know that.
Yep.
Get them in there 48 business hours in advance. That's the
Right.
That's the name of the game.
Correct. Yep. So
Okay.
I'm like, well, that's good enough for me.
Yep, there it is. Very good. So, so Peter, you all adjusted to this change in time. I'm finding a lot of people are having difficulty this year with the changing of the clocks. How are you doing?
I'm
with that?
doing fine.
Doing
actually.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing fine because my deal on that is I worked all weekend, so
Okay.
I had to adjust quickly.
Yeah. Right.
So I worked at Mount Holyoke this weekend, so I had to adjust very, very quickly. It didn't matter.
Yep. There it is. I think that people who have children really, I remember when Grace was little, the clock thing, and especially if you have children who nap, they don't know that you changed the clock. So if their nap time is, 2 to 3 in the afternoon or something like that, and now you've changed the clocks, they're all messed up because, they're wherever they're not supposed to be napping.
Right.
So I know moms and dads
Dogs have a
struggle
tough time
that.
with it too.
Oh, I never thought about dogs.
They're like, hey, it's time to feed me. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't wear a watch. They don't have a Fitbit or anything like that.
They just know
So-
when it's time to eat.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think of anything interesting that happened over the weekend, and I'm drawing a blank because, of course, you know what I was doing, Pete, working on my newsletter. My family thinks that about
You
90.
need to slow down. Like I'm starting to learn that if I can't fit into a normal day plus an hour or two, I just have to walk away from it. Like
Yeah.
I'm still working on editing the Pops concert from over the weekend.
Yep.
Because we did that Friday and Saturday night. Kenny and I did that.
Yep. Yep.
We have our student replacement program in full swing.
Good.
You see that camera on the tripod in the corner?
Yes.
That's the student replacement program.
Okay. There
Because
it
nobody
is.
wants.
Oh.
It's tough. Well, so students are so the kids that really want to do it are so involved in so many things that
Yeah.
they can't.
Yeah.
And
And that's
then
understandable.
There's kids that just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're
Yeah.
just
Yep.
If I had what they have right now in my high school when I went to Cathedral,
You would have been salivating.
I would have.
Yeah.
They would have had to draw me into class. Go.
Right.
You really need to go to class
Right.
now.
And they would have been dragging you to go home. It's like, Pete, we are locking the building. Go home. Stop.
Right.
Get from behind the camera kind of thing. I know.
Exactly. And
I know.
I can't drag them in here.
I know. I'm right there with
It's
you. You know
brutal.
what? It's really interesting because not being, sort of a tech kind of person, but I think if I had been exposed to this when I was in high school, because I did a lot of community theater and, things like that, and when I was in high school, and I would have, oh my gosh, I would have jumped right into this. I think this would have been so much fun. And you're right, Pete. I mean, having a studio in my high school, it would have been like, okay, I'm there.
They all think that they're. Here's the thing, because of the advent of the cell phone and the cameras in the cell phone.
Yes.
They all think that they're professional.
They're already
professional
professionals, yeah.
videographers with what they can do on their cell phone. And
Yeah.
while you could take a decent image with your cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know how to use it properly, you're just an amateur and you're putting up a crappy video.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, well,
It's
there's
the
an
truth.
art to it. It's not, it's
Yeah.
there's training.
There's
that goes
art
into
and science
it.
with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do that, then you're just taking a crappy TikTok video. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know lots of
Yep.
people that do that too.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So
Up
listen.
up
oh,
on
go
my
ahead.
soapbox this morning.
Okay, that's okay. We're all allowed to have them, and we don't go on and on and on and on. You get it out, and it's like, okay, take a breath. You feel better.
I'm not the only one that said. Berkshire Media Collaborative has said the same thing, so I'm not the only one saying it. It's,
Yeah.
The professionals are going, yeah, that's a nice TikTok video, but it's not going to make you any money.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I've noticed that the guys that do make money
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube and TikTok are maybe using less equipment than broadcast or whatever, but they're doing a good job with it.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Hey, Pete, I was watching Jeopardy last night, as I do every night, except that I'm not up to date with. I'm not watching the Jeopardy that was on last night. Like Gary and I taped them, DVR, whatever we're doing, and then watch them. So we're about a week or so behind. But there was a question about one of the rocket companies. And I couldn't think of the name of it. And I said, oh, Pete would know this, like right off the top of your head.
What was the question?
It was who's one of the independent
SpaceX, Blue Origin,
it was SpaceX.
Rocket Lab.
It was SpaceX. That was the answer. I'm like, Pete would know that. What's the name of I can't remember what the question was, but I knew you'd know it, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and the answer was space. And as soon as I said, I'm going to know this as soon as they say it, because I know Pete and I have talked about it on the show. And as soon as the guy, somebody had the right answer. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
Been hanging around me too much.
I'm really good at Jeopardy for after the answer is given to go, oh, yeah, that's the answer. I knew that. I just can't come up with it that fast. So, Pete, I have to tell you about my first famous birthday, because I just think this is a riot. So today's March 16th, all right, the day before St. Patrick's Day. So March 16th, it is the birthday of the late James E. Smith. Now, pretty common name, Jim Smith, James E. Smith. James E. Smith was a minister and undertaker born on this date in 1848. And what, you ask, makes him so famous? Well, he was born in Williamsburg, Virginia. His death date is unknown. I could not find the year that the date that he died. However, the late Reverend James E. Smith may be the oldest new father known to medicine. In 1951, in Carbondale, Illinois, he fathered a child at the age of 101. God bless him. His wife, Anna Smith, was 38 years old when she gave birth to their seventh child, a son whom they named Dallas Eugene. Reverend Smith's death date is unknown, but I found a photograph of him on his 103rd birthday with his wife, Anna, and their 7 children, including baby Dallas, who she was holding. So I know that he lived to be at least 103.
That's, I don't know. See, after a certain age, doesn't your DNA start degrading or something? And fathering children, probably not a good idea.
I'm trying to figure out. So if Dallas Eugene, what I didn't look up was Dallas Eugene. So Dallas Eugene, he was born in 1951, which would mean he's in his 60s, 69 right now. So what I haven't looked up him. Yeah, like how is this how is this guy? Is he okay? I mean, everything good there?
Hello.
Yeah, right? 101. I just said, I have to do this. We have to talk about this. I mean, that's a little scary. Yeah, it is a little scary, but so you know what? Let's see. Oh, it's only 6:12. We don't have to do that. All right, let's do another birthday. I'm going to do I'll do this one. It is the birthday of the late Anna Atkins. She was a botanist and a photographer. So this falls into my category of, women, like really important women who did really cool things. So she was born on this date, March 16th, in 1799 in England. She died June 9th, which happens to be my birthday, in 1871 at the age of 72. So Anna Atkins is often considered the first person to publish a book illustrated with photographic images. Some sources say that she was the first woman to create a photograph. Anna Atkins' mother died shortly after giving birth to Anna. After her mom died, she formed a very close relationship with her father, and her father was a renowned chemist, mineralogist, and zoologist. So Anna received an unusually scientific education for a woman of her time, because remember, she was born in the late 1700s, so it wasn't too common for a woman in the early 1800s to, have much education at all, never mind,
Sure.
A very scientific-based education. Anna married, but she and her husband had no children, and instead, she pursued her interests in botany and photogenic drawing. So Anna Atkins learned the photogenic drawing technique in which an object is placed. I couldn't quite picture this, Pete, but an object is placed on a light sensitized paper, which is exposed to the sun to produce an image. So I guess this is very rudimentary,
like almost like
photography.
plate making.
Yeah. She self-published her photograms, that's what they were called at the time, photograms, in the first installment of the name of the book was Photographs of British Algae, and that was published in October of 1843. Although privately published with a limited number of copies and with handwritten text, Photographs of British Algae is considered the first book illustrated with photographic images. It's so funny, though, because we don't really think of, well, when is the first time they started using photos in books? I mean, we see that all the time now. But, prior to that, they were hand-drawn.
Yep.
So pretty cool. So happy birthday to the late Anna Atkins. All right, it is 6:15. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses, and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the late Reverend James E. Smith, fathering a child at the age of 101.
That's still very scary.
We're going to listen to Paul Anka singing Having My Baby. We'll be back.
Having my baby, what a lovely way of saying how much you love me. Having my baby, what a lovely way of saying what you're thinking of me. I can see it, your face is glowing, I can see it in your eyes. I'm happy in knowing that you're having my baby. You're the woman I love, and I love what it's doing to you. Having my baby. You're a woman in love, and I love what's going through you. The need inside you, I see it showing. Oh, the seed inside you, baby, do you feel it growing? Are you happy in knowing that you're having my baby?
I'm a woman in love, and I love what it's doing to me.
Having my baby.
I'm a woman in love, and I love what's going through me.
Didn't have to keep it, wouldn't put you through it. You could have swept it from your life, but you wouldn't do it. No, you wouldn't do it. And you're having my baby.
I'm a woman in love, and I love what it's doing to me.
Having my baby.
I'm a woman in love, and I love what's going through me.
Having my baby. Having my baby. What a lovely way of saying how much you love me. Having my baby.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning on this very foggy morning with Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Hey, I want to let you know that we finally got Jay back on the air for a little bit.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear him. He was
He
on
was
yesterday?
at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast.
Oh, he was at the Chamber. You know, I turned that on just for
Tried to
just
do
for
his
a few
show.
minutes. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who you were interviewing. I flipped it on my way into work on Friday morning, and I had forgotten that you were doing that.
We had Chuck
and
Kelly on for a while.
No,
we had
it wasn't Chuck.
Eric
It was,
Ouellette, the Chamber of Commerce director. We had Gary Rome on.
It was Gary Rome.
Yeah.
It was Gary Rome.
Yeah.
Yep. You had just somebody had just introduced him. I think it was Rick who had
Yep.
done
Rick
that
came up there and
interview.
helped out because
Yeah.
Jay had to leave early because he had to go finish setting up for the Pops concert. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
busy,
Perfect.
busy morning.
It was. It's been a busy weekend.
We thank
Busy
the
time.
Chamber for bringing us back up there. We
Yeah.
haven't done it in a couple of
Did
years.
you have
so.
was it a nice turnout, Pete?
Yeah, they think they're over 120.
Good. Yeah. That's perfect.
Not bad considering the times we're in.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah. Yep. So, this weekend is the mayor's inaugural ball, which is, so we'll see how, I don't know what the numbers, are looking like for that. I think that they had restricted the numbers, just so that they weren't jamming a zillion people. But, it's actually the mayor's inaugural sneaker ball. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Yes. So I think this is, and I told the mayor, I think this is the greatest thing since sliced bread that, and I said, I hope this sneaker thing applies to both men and women. And he said, oh, yes. And he said that was not Mayor Mike's idea. It was his ball committee. Actually, whose idea it was, I found out with a little bit of investigative digging. It was Holly Lurgio's idea. So apparently she has attended this sneaker gala thing in Chicopee for the Boys and Girls Club. I guess they do a fundraiser every year. And she said the first year they had it, it was like, it was kind of fun. But then it's really started to catch on. And now it's this big thing. So, you go to that gala and everybody's wearing sneakers. I think that's just the greatest thing ever. Because
Save you a little bit of money.
And also because, walking around in high heels is not comfortable. Let me tell you that. So, yeah.
Leather shoes for guys isn't necessarily comfortable either.
Oh, yeah. No, Gary's all over this. He's like, I said, Gary, you can wear your running shoes. I said, Mike's a runner, so that's perfect. I think it's perfect.
Preferably they won't be falling apart.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Get something. Well, Gary has one pair.
That's why I wear black sneakers all the time. They're appropriate work shoes.
Yep. And I've started
All
doing
black.
this. I started doing the same thing once we started serving lunch outside, and I was out there in all kinds of weather. We've been pretty much doing the sneaker thing. And that will be it today with, a bunch of lunches to get ready. And then it'll take us a good hour and a half probably to distribute today. So, All right. So we're going to go from one extreme to the other on this famous birthdays, Pete. So we went from the man, Reverend Smith, who had fathered a baby at the age of 103. So my next famous birthday is at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So this is the birthday of the late Luis Miramontes Cardenas. He was a chemist born on this date in 1925 in Mexico. Died at the age of 79 in 2004.
Okay.
All right, so here's what he did. Luis Miramontes was a Mexican chemist known as the co-inventor of the progestin norethisterone used in one of the first 3 oral contraceptives.
Come again?
So the scientific contributions of Luis Miramontes are extensive, including numerous publications and nearly 40 national and international patents in different areas such as organic chemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry, petrochemistry, and atmospheric chemistry and polluting agents. Among his multiple contributions to world science is the synthesis on October 15th, 1951, by the way, the same year that Reverend Smith was fathering his son, when Miramontes was only 26 years old, of norethisterone, that was to become the progestin used in one of the first 3 oral contraceptives. For this reason, Luis Miramontes is considered to be its inventor. Now, he did this with 2 other people, Carl Gerasi, Louis Miramontes, and George Rosencrantz of the Mexican chemical company Syntax are listed on the patent for northisterone as its co-inventors. Gerasi is now sometimes known as the father of the pill, okay? But the historians agree that the invention or the first synthesis is the work of Louis Miramontes. So we have three guys who are inventing the pill, the oral contraceptive. Then we have Reverend Smith over here who's fathering a child at the age of 103. I thought that was kind of an interesting juxtaposition there. So just thought we'd dive into that a little bit today. All right. Now, I do want to bring up the fact that last week we had a packed show. I can't remember who I had on last week, but I remember it was a packed show.
Joe Rouse?
Nope, it wasn't Joe Rouse. And I don't have my calendar with me. I'm trying to remember who was on. Oh, no. It wasn't who was on. I did it. I did Retire the Fire.
Right.
So I was trying to get a lot of information in there at one time. So I didn't have time to talk about the fact that last Wednesday, which was March 9th, was National Barbie Day. But, I did my homework. So we're going to talk about National Barbie Day today, even though it was a week ago, because I kind of felt like, Retire the Fire was more important than Barbie. But I do want to talk about, because Barbie has an interesting history. So let's just, we'll just recap a little bit from last week. In 1959, an 11-inch tall bombshell made her debut at the American International Toy Fair in New York. Designed by Ruth Handler, the co-founder of Mattel, Barbie was created to allow girls to imagine what their lives could be like in the future. She had a slew of careers, from a registered nurse to an astronaut. And she's done it all with a companion. Barbie was a single lady for all of 2 years, but in 1961, overwhelming demand caused Ruth Handler to release a boyfriend for her, and that would be Ken. Verdict's out if he's ever going to put a ring on her finger, because, they never did get married. On National Barbie Day, we celebrate all things Barbie. So this was last week, and, I apologize, we're a week late with this. But in 1959, Ruth Handler created the Barbie doll and launched an American icon. Barbie's full name, in case you're wondering, is it just Barbie, kind of like Cher? No. Her full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts, and she came with a full array of accessories. While toy makers mass-produced toys for years before Barbie, none of them had adult features. Barbie's adult features made the toy a first of its kind. Interestingly, Barbie's marketing strategy relied on television advertising. For example, Barbie was the sole sponsor of the Mickey Mouse Club, marketing directly to children. At the time, that approach was unique. Estimates place over 1 billion Barbie dolls have been sold worldwide in over 150 countries. Detractors often criticize Barbie for being an unattainable ideal of a woman. While her figure alone is unrealistic, over the years, Barbie evolved both in style and shape. In 2019, the Barbie brand honored pioneering women across several eras as well. The modern Barbie offers positive role models in business, science, education, and more. Barbie continues to change year after year, keeping up with styles and the headlines. So here's a little Barbie timeline. So 1959, we just learned that, Barbie debuts. That was the first ever Barbie debuts in a black and white swimsuit at the New York Toy Fair. 1962, so that was just 3 years later, the Dream House. Now this cracked me up, Pete. Before women are even allowed to open up their own bank accounts, Barbie purchased her first dream house. Think of the times, 1962. 1968, Barbie's best friend, Christy. The Christy doll hits the markets as one of the very first black dolls. That was in 1968. 1992, Barbie for president. Barbie runs as a candidate in the presidential election. 2001, Barbie in the Nutcracker. And Barbie gets her first feature-length movie called Barbie in the Nutcracker. And finally, in 2016, which is probably one of the banner years for Barbie, breaking the Barbie stereotype. Barbies get 3 new body types, tall, petite, and curvy, earning Barbie the front cover of Time magazine. So there's your little Barbie history in honor of last week's National Barbie Day, which we did not have a chance to talk about. So now we're all caught up with that. And here's my little commercial plug. So I was just talking about the fact that the reason that we didn't get to Barbie last week was because we were talking about Retire the Fire. So, Pete, I am going to be a guest this Friday on Mass Appeal with our good friend and former host, Patrick Berry, to talk about the Retire the Fire program in Westfield. So we'll be able to be spreading fire safety information to the whole Pioneer Valley here through Mass Appeal. So tune in. That's 11 o'clock on WWLP for all of you who wish to do that. All right, so we're going to take a break, and I want to introduce, before we do, I'd like to just introduce this song. I think I played the song one other time. On this show. The song is called The Pill. This is in honor, of course, of the birthday of Louis Miramontes, who was one of the inventors of one of the first oral contraceptive pills. So the song is The Pill. It's by Loretta Lynn. But what I didn't know when I've played this song one other time was this song was actually banned from the radio. It came out in 1975, and radio stations refused to play it. In an interview years later, Loretta Lynn said that many physicians told her that this song and the fact that it got banned did more to promote the availability of birth control in rural areas than all of the literature that these doctors had tried to distribute. And beyond just the controversy about the use of the birth control pill, it was radical at that time for a woman to sing about enjoying sex. I mean, it just wasn't, that just wasn't done in the mid-70s.
Sure, yeah.
So in honor of Louis Miramontes and his invention, you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to listen to Loretta Lynn singing about The Pill.
You wine me and dine me when I was your girl. Promised if I'd be your wife, you'd show me the world. But all I've seen of this old world is a bed and a doctor bill. I'm tearing down your brooder house, 'cause now I've got the pill. All these years I've stayed at home while you had all your fun. And every year that's gone by, another baby's come. There's gonna be some changes made right here on Nursery Hill. You set this chicken your last time, 'cause now I've got the pill. This old maternity dress I've got is going in the garbage. The clothes I'm wearing from now on won't take up so much yardage. Mini skirts, hot pants, and a few little fancy frills. Yeah, I'm making up for all those years since I've got the pill. I'm tired of all your crowing, how you and your hens play, while holding a couple in my arms, another's on the way. This chicken's done tore up her nest, and I'm ready to make a deal. And you can't afford to turn it down, 'cause you know I've got the pill. This incubator is overused because you've kept it filled. The feeling good comes easy now since I've got the pill. It's getting dark, it's roosting time. Tonight's too good to be real. Oh, but Daddy, don't you worry none, 'cause Mama's got the pill. Oh, Daddy, don't you worry none, 'cause Mama's got the pill.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:34. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So I keep looking outside, and it still looks very dark and very foggy, although you can kind of see a few things now with Park Square, but just be very careful out there, folks. It's super foggy this morning, so leave yourself some extra time. You're going to need that in your travels. Just as a reminder, today is the third Wednesday of the month, and on the third Wednesday of the month, on Wake Up Wednesday, we have our Diabetes Dialogue segment, so that'll be happening second hour. My guest will be Jen Jaffune, who is a local registered dietitian and nutritionist, and Jen and I are starting a two-part series today, so it'll run this month and April, on the third month in April, and I'm calling this nutritional buzzwords. So the impetus for this was, Gary and I, as I said, we like to watch Jeopardy pretty much every night, and we're watching Jeopardy and commercial comes on, and it had something to do with probiotics, and I don't remember whether it was a yogurt or whatever it was, some food that contained probiotics. I looked at Gary and I said, I don't even know what the heck a probiotic is, and is this something that's really necessary? Is it necessary for everyone? Is it just good for me, or is all this just marketing hype? And then we started throwing out all of these terms that you hear on TV, or you see in ads, or you hear it around the water cooler. Well, I'm on the keto diet, and I'm on this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing a cleanse, and and so I said to Jen, I find a lot of something is organic. What does that mean? In fact, when Joe Rouse was on the show last month, he was talking about labels, food labels, best if used by, expiration date, and what do those mean? We all think that if it's past that date, you have to throw it away. Not necessarily so. It's like, not so fast, not so fast.
Yep.
So Jen is going to begin to tease out some of these, some of these words and phrases and expressions that we're hearing a lot about to help us to understand what exactly do they mean. Is it promoting a healthy lifestyle, or is this just a marketing thing? That is really doesn't matter much at all. So there are a lot of them. I mean, I came up with a list of about a dozen, and she came up with a list of about a dozen more. And I asked her to kind of break them into categories, which she did. So I am, really going to let her run with this in terms of how she's organizing this for our listeners and our viewers.
Okay.
But Jen will be here a little after 7, so that's going to kind of be the topic of the day. So stay tuned for that. Today is March 16th, and it is National Vaccination Day. So how appropriate that we're talking about this after all that we've been through over the last couple of years. So National Vaccination Day is observed every year on March 16th. The day conveys the importance of vaccination and its role in public health. Vaccination or immunization is the most effective prevention method of highly infectious diseases. According to the World Health Organization, or WHO, immunization is a proven tool for controlling and eliminating life-threatening infectious diseases. Vaccination is crucial to improving public health and life expectancy standards and elevating social and economic impact at the community and national levels. The practice of vaccination dates back hundreds of years. Evidence points to the Chinese employing smallpox inoculation from 1000 AD. Even the African and Turkish people practiced it before it spread to Europe and the Americas. In 1798, the first smallpox vaccine was developed, and during the 18th and 19th centuries, mass smallpox immunization led to the disease's eradication in 1979. Experiments by Louis Pasteur led to the development of cholera and inactivated anthrax vaccines, and the plague vaccine was also invented in the late 19th century. Between 1890 and 1950, bacterial vaccine development increased. In 1923, Alexander Glennie researched the perfect method to inactivate tetanus toxin with formaldehyde, and then the same method led to the development of the diphtheria vaccine back in 1926. Viral tissue culture methods developed from 1950 to 1985 led to the advent of the Salk and Sabin polio vaccines. That, of course, was during my lifetime. I remember that well when I was as a child. Thanks to mass immunization, polio is nearly eradicated in many countries globally. We have made massive strides in vaccinology in the past 2 decades and have seen the successful development and manufacturing of hepatitis B and seasonal influenza vaccines. We will see even more effective vaccines with advancing technology, including, I thought this was interesting, therapeutic vaccines for allergies, autoimmune diseases, and addictions. So we'll see how that pans out in the next, in the coming years. But anyway, it is National Vaccination Day, and I would certainly be remiss if I didn't remind folks that if you have not gotten your COVID-19 vaccine, you might want to think about doing that. And if you have questions about it, as we've said over the last year, certainly contact your medical provider and have that conversation with your medical provider. That's really the person that you'll trust the most and get the best information from. And it is hard to believe that it has been a year since the COVID-19 vaccine became available to the general public, but it was a year ago at this time that we were scrambling, trying to get people transportation to vaccine sites. It was on a hierarchy of who was allowed to get the vaccine early on. We had people who were desperate who were calling us. I don't know if you remember the lines out at the Eastfield Mall. Mm-hmm. Remember the lines with the seniors in wheelchairs in the snow waiting to get their vaccines. So now it is readily available, obviously. So for those of you who have not taken the plunge, you might want to think about doing that. It is the birthday today, March 16th, of the late Jerry Lewis, comedian, actor, director, producer, screenwriter, and humanitarian. Jerry Lewis was born on this day in 1926 in Newark, New Jersey, and died just a few years ago, 2017, at the age of 91. Nicknamed the King of Comedy, Jerry Lewis is regarded as one of the most significant American cultural figures of the 20th century. He is widely known for his kid and idiot persona. His contributions to comedy and charity, along with his publicized personal life, made him a global figure in pop culture over an 8-decade career. He professionally debuted in 1946 as part of the famous Martin and Lewis. That was with singer Dean Martin. They performed together until 1956, so that was a 10-year stint. That same year, Jerry Lewis's solo career started after the split. By becoming the highest-grossing movie star and innovative filmmaker, he helped to develop and popularize Video Assist, the closed-circuit apparatus enabling film directors to see what had been shot without waiting for developed film footage. Lewis appeared and starred in 60 films, that's 60, with 13 of them directed by him. He was also national chairman of the Muscular Dystrophy Association and host of the Jerry Lewis Telethon each Labor Day weekend for many, many years. So happy birthday to the late Jerry Lewis.
There you go.
And my last birthday for today is Lauren Graham, actress born on this date in 1967 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Lauren Graham is 55 years old today. Between 1996 and 1997, Lauren Graham became a regular guest star on several NBC shows. She played a graduate student who caught the eye of Dick on Third Rock from the Sun, Richard's overly optimistic girlfriend in Caroline in the City, and Jerry's speed dial ranking girlfriend on Seinfeld. She played a Hollywood producer who had a love interest in Detective Ray Curtis in a 3-part episode of Law & Order, where she acted opposite Scott Cohen, who would later play one of Graham's love interests, Max Medina, on The Gilmore Girls. In 2000, Graham landed her breakthrough role as Lorelai Gilmore on Gilmore Girls. In the show, she played a witty 30-something raising her teenage daughter in small-town Connecticut. And whoever wrote the script for the Gilmore Girls, they talk very quickly, which, I mean, I'm from New Jersey, so I know what that's all about. But to write that in a script and be as witty as they were at that time, I was always impressed. Graham said that she felt connected to the material in Gilmore Girls, and the script resonated with her due to its complexities. It was serious, it was funny, it was deep, it was light, and I agree with that assessment. I thought it was a great show. In October 2009, it was announced that Graham would replace Maura Tierney in the television series Parenthood as single mother Sarah Braverman. Tierney left the show to seek treatment for cancer. The series debuted on NBC the following year and ran for a total of 6 seasons. Lauren Graham's debut novel, Someday, Maybe, was released on April 30th, 2013, and made the New York Times bestseller list the following month. The comedic novel is a fictionalization of her experiences trying to become an actress in 1990s New York. Her second and third books, Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between, and In Conclusion, Don't Worry About It, were also New York Times bestsellers. So she has now written 3 New York Times bestsellers and is an actress, and so is doing quite well for herself. So happy 55th birthday to Lauren Graham. All right, it is 6:45. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. It is St. Patrick's Day coming up tomorrow, so I had to throw in a little bit of Irish music. We'll sprinkle a little Irish music today. So this is one of my all-time great, favorite, and I know Patrick Berry's as well, and that is the Saw Doctors. So we're going to listen to them with Joyce Country Ceilidh Band.
We're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band, playing away and we're doing grand. Well, if we're singing a song, won't you give us a hand? 'Cause we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band. Friday night, off we go. Tune the fiddle, strain the bow. Oh, we take it handy for the first few sets. Sure, there's hardly anyone listening yet. And we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band, playing away and we're doing grand. Well, if we're singing a song, won't you give us a hand? 'Cause we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band. Thomas and Mary out on the floor. Well, they never lost it, that's for sure. In his sparkle shoes and his dad's white shirt, she has a brand new perm and a pleated skirt. And we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band, playing away and we're doing grand. Well, if we're singing a song, won't you give us a hand? 'Cause we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band. Bit of Kelly. We do do's and functions, weddings and wakes. Shaka-laka-laka, weddings and wakes. Meats and salads, buns and cakes. Shaka-laka-laka, buns and cakes. Well, if you need a few tunes, just give us a call. Shaka-laka-laka, give us a call. For the house, the pub, or the parish hall. Shaka-laka-laka, parish hall. And we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band, playing away and we're doing grand. Well, if we're singing a song, won't you give us a hand? 'Cause we're the Joyce Country Ceilidh Band. Oh, there's a princess on the floor all night. Mona, Carna, Mona. She can fairly throw them shapes all right. the Joyce Country Caravan. Playing away and we're doing grand. Well, if we're singing a song, won't you give us a hand? 'Cause we're the Joyce Country Caravan.
Once more, Danny.
Yes, we're the Joyce Country Caravan. More Kelly!
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. I'll bring this over a little closer. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So we are starting to be able to see the green a little bit. So
Sure.
hopefully the fog is starting to lift a little bit as the sun starts to come up. So that's a good thing. It's been super foggy out there. So just leave yourself a few extra minutes if you are heading out to work or school. So I mentioned before, last week we talked about Retire the Fire. And, when we started the program, which was 9 years ago, believe it or not, it's been that long here in Westfield. It was really sort of a 1 week of the week before we switched the clocks. And then it kind of morphed into sort of the whole month of March. And now, of course, we promote fire safety for our seniors throughout the year, but we do focus on it in March. That is our main focus. So just want to let people know that at the Senior Center at the greeter's desk, we have two, and this is also on the front page of our newsletter, but we have a flyer on this year's Retire the Fire Senior Safety Checklist. And we also have another form. This is called the FRIEND form. And the FRIEND form is bright orange, but FRIEND is an acronym, and it stands for First Responder Informative Extra Needs Directive. And it's kind of a fancy way of saying it's just a form that if you have someone living in the household who has dementia, memory loss, cognitive impairment, maybe someone who is deaf or hard of hearing, someone who has a visual limitation, someone who has impaired speech, maybe someone had a stroke and they have difficulty speaking or are not able to speak at all, or someone who's using a wheelchair or is really mobility compromised, any of those things. Fill out. You can grab the form at the greeter's desk. Sandra is happy to give it to you. You fill it out. It's a lot of checking boxes. So you just fill out your name, your address, your phone number, an emergency contact. Or if you have a residential lockbox, something like that the first responders could use to get in, all of that is on the form. And then you can just give the form back to us at the Senior Center, and I will get it over to Nina Bars over in dispatch. And what will happen is this information gets put into the dispatch system so that if you dial 911 and there's an emergency at your house, whether it's a fire, whether it's a medical emergency, as the first responders are heading over to your house, dispatch can relay this information to them. When you get there, you need to know this person is blind, or this person uses a wheelchair. So, that's really going to help them in knowing how to prepare. And as Pete mentioned last week, what to bring in with them when they're bringing in equipment and what to do. So please, we have plenty of these friend forms. Don't hesitate to stop by and grab one. You can either fill it out at the senior center, or you can take it home. You can mail it to me, or you can mail it directly to Nina over in Safety Communications. And also our Retire the Fire checklist. This is a very basic checklist on, I tried to kind of go through from the time somebody might need to make that emergency phone call. So these are just some things to think about and to really pay attention to this month as we have Retire the Fire. So are there house numbers on your home? And those house numbers should be at least 4 inches. They should be visible. They should be in a place where it's logical for first responders to look. So they're going to be looking near the front door. That's where they're going to be looking for what house number is this. And it is always amazing to me when the firefighters tell me, Tina, you'd be amazed. We get to the street right away, but then we can't find the exact house. I mean, GPS is only so, reliable for them. And they said, there have been times when we've been driving up and down the street knowing there's an emergency in one of these houses and we can't find it, especially if it's a medical emergency. Obviously, if there's smoke billowing out of the house, they're going to find that pretty quickly. But make sure that you have house numbers on your house. Are there, speaking of smoke billowing out, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors on each level of the home? So if it's a ranch-style home or, a one floor, but it has a basement, you should have at least 2, one in the basement, one on the first floor, one on the second floor. We always remind people that that's a safety issue. If you are going to sell your house, there are very strict guidelines through the state fire marshal's office on what you need for detectors. So that's a whole other ballgame, and you would probably have to add several more, but at least for safety's sake, have one on each level of the home. Make sure that your home is free from clutter. If the first responders get to the house, but they can't get in the house because the doors are blocked or the hallways are blocked or the sidewalk hadn't been shoveled or, there's stuff all over the place. Seconds count. In an emergency, seconds count. If you're having a stroke, it makes a difference whether it takes them an extra 10 minutes to get to you than if they had been able to get to you right away. Same with a heart attack. Are the stove and oven used for cooking and not storage of kitchen items and the display of knickknacks? So, make sure that the stovetop doesn't have stuff on it, because if it accidentally gets turned on, that's kind of a recipe for disaster. Same thing, don't use the oven as, I never use the oven, so that's a place where I store my, my kitchen towels and my pot holders. Well, not a good idea if somebody accidentally turns the oven on. I had a friend who did that. She used to store her pots and pans in her oven and decided she didn't do a whole lot of cooking and baking, but decided to bake something. Completely forgot she had a whole stack of pots and pans in the oven, turned it on to preheat it to bake her cookies, and then couldn't figure out why her whole house was smelling really badly, really quickly. So, electrical. The last couple of years when we've done Retire the Fire, we've really tried to pay attention to electrical problems, because I was amazed when Ben Warren, who is the fire prevention officer for the city of Westfield, he did a presentation the year that COVID hit, but he had done the presentation like the week before COVID at the senior center. And he told us this story, Pete, and I was blown away by this. He said, you would not believe the number, especially of older adults or people living in older homes, and a lot of older adults live in older homes, because a lot of those older homes don't have a lot of electrical outlets in the rooms. So he said, you have people who are taking the the electrical strips where you can plug in a bunch of things in like a strip bar. And he said it's like they've got extension cords and then a power strip and then another extension cord and then another power strip. And then all of this is plugged into one little tiny wall socket. But in the end, if you look at it, you may have 10 or 12 things plugged into, through all these power strips and extension cords. And that is such a recipe for disaster in terms of an electrical fire. So please do not do that. If you need more outlets, you're going to need to get a licensed electrician in there to put in more outlets. And the fire marshal's office really recommends that if finances are an issue for that, just do it on, do a few at a time. You don't have to do a major overhaul of your entire electrical system, but just at least get, some extra outlets in there every few years. So that will help a lot. If you do not have a file of life, we have those at the senior center. That is a small magnetic packet that goes on your refrigerator, and in that is a card, and you fill that out in pencil, and it has your name and your medical provider and your a list of your medications and so forth, an emergency contact. So those are all really important things for the first responders to have. And they will look on the refrigerator. The deputy fire chiefs have told me in the past that's the first place they look. If they see it, they're going to grab it and take that up to the hospital, because it'll also have your medical insurance information, which is really important. And then, of course, have you submitted a friend form if that's appropriate for someone in your household. So that checklist is at the senior center, along with some other explanations about fire safety. Please stop by and get those. We are concerned and really trying to deal with fire safety this is a unique population. Seniors are unique. They make more 911 calls because of medical issues, and they are more at risk for fire for a variety of reasons. It is 7:00. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back, our registered dietitian and nutritionist, Jen Jaffoon, will be with us, and we'll be talking diabetes dialogue. We'll be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:04. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses on WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with Jen DeFune, licensed nutritionist and registered dietitian. Welcome, Jen. This is our third Wednesday of the month, so this is our diabetes dialogue segment. But, I always put this in the newsletter that, anything that we talk about in terms of good nutrition is good for anyone.
Right. It's universal.
It's universal. As a matter of fact, I know that you and I have talked in the past, Jen, about people who are, interested in weight loss. And one of your recommendations is follow, sort of a diabetic diet, and
right.
you'll probably be all set. So I just want to, say that at the onset. So before we get into the topic at hand, which I've titled this nutritional buzzwords, Pete and I were talking before. Well, first of all, how was it getting in? Because it was ridiculously foggy when Pete and I came in. I mean, It took me a long time. Is it getting better or?
Well, I got up early to go down to my office to print out a handout because my printer at home was out of ink. And it was amazingly foggy. I mean, literally couldn't see 2 car lengths down the road.
Yep.
But by the time I left my office, which was 15 minutes later, it was fine.
Okay, good. Because I was telling Pete, usually I live in West Springfield, and usually West Springfield is in its own little pocket of fog, usually.
Right.
And by the time I get to Little George's out on Route 20, it's already starting to lift. That did not happen this morning. I mean, I crawled all the way to I always stopped at the senior center first. And then I thought I was in the senior center for about 10 minutes. And I thought, well, hopefully by now, I crawled all the way here because it was still pitch black.
Right.
And it was, you could tell people were nervous. I mean, people were really, you just couldn't see. Like, as you said, you couldn't see like a couple car lengths in front of you.
Yeah.
So I was hoping. And then Pete has on, he has in our background the cameras over at town on Park Square Green.
Right.
And when we first started the show an hour ago, it's like you couldn't see anything. And I said to people, that really is what it's like out there. But it's starting to look. I can see the sun coming up. So it's lifting.
It was fine once it was light.
Good. Yeah, that was the key. And so how have you fared with this change of time? Are you, I said to Pete, people are struggling with it this year. Some people. Are you okay? Or?
I never have a problem with it.
No? Okay.
But my family does.
Well, I'm thinking, what about Josie? What about the baby? I think babies and toddlers have all kinds of trouble with this.
This baby sleeps 7 to 8 hours a night.
Okay.
Not yet 3 months old. Has been doing this since she was born. And so she woke up a little bit early.
Yeah, but not,
like
this is
nothing.
Like angel baby.
Yeah.
See here, the problem with having an angel baby is that you think down the road, if you decide you want to have number 2, then number 2 is going to be just like number 1, and that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
One never knows.
One never knows.
Yeah.
And usually if you think, well, I've got this down.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. No, not going to happen. But angel baby is now, Josie's 3 months old. Almost 3 months old.
And absolutely wonderful. And before we went on air, I said we've been taking a lot of walks, because now it's warm enough that I feel comfortable taking her in the stroller. Plus, it's these strollers these days, they're like multifunctional.
It's like a Lexus, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah, right.
And you have to know how to click these things in and that things, and this is how
they're
you do
like
this.
stinking Transformers.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're unbelievable.
I was afraid to, put the little, the carrier goes in the stroller.
Yep.
It's not hard, but it looks it.
Yes. Yeah.
But now I'm getting an hour and a half to 2 hours of walking for 2 days in a row because we go out. and just watch.
Well, we could do a whole segment on, because I have all these nieces and that have been having babies over the last year or so, and we were doing virtual showers because they're all down in New Jersey. But I'm looking at some of these gifts, and Grace is with me. We're at our house, and I'm saying to Grace, "Do you know what that is? There is so much stuff out there now.
Things.
I don't even know what you do with some of this stuff." I'm like, they didn't have that 30 years ago, Grace.
No.
What is that?
And you know what? I crocheted a baby blanket. That was our gift.
There it is. There it is. Because you know what to do with the blanket.
Right.
It's just a blanket.
No knobs, no butt. Nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Even getting a monitor. Like in the old days, it looked like a walkie-talkie.
Right.
And it worked kind of like that.
Exactly.
You just turn it on each end.
Yeah.
Now you have to download an app and you can see this and that.
And it's all
monitor
video.
this.
And yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel like these babies probably want to look at this monitor and say, "Stop watching me." I need space here. Will you just give me my privacy?
Well, they were coming to visit us, so I bought a monitor in case the baby was asleep and we were in the cellar playing pool or something. Yeah. And I just handed them the box and said, "I don't know how to set this up. You guys take care of it."
Here it is.
Yep.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, we'll get schooled as we go along, and
yes, we will.
And Josie, gets a little bit older, and we'll get schooled on all of these doodads and thingamajigs and newfangled things.
Right.
I feel like I sound like my mother. I feel like I sound really old, but it's so funny.
Things are so different.
They are.
I mean, you could get by with everything we did, or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
once had to watch, like 5 or 6, 7 kids. We were on a ski vacation, and I wasn't going. It was my turn not to go out, and so I had one of mine, and then 5 or 6 of the other
a bunch
grandkids.
of others. Yep.
But we were in the condo at the ski place where none of the toys were.
Yeah.
And everybody leaves, and I'm like, I have no toys.
What am I going to do with these 7 children?
Right.
So what'd you do?
I did things like I took the little sandwich baggies, and I think I tied dental floss on them, and we made parachutes, and we went up on the next floor and played parachute
and dropped them down. Yeah.
And I took
good one,
cheese. Cream cheese boxes.
Yeah.
And I cut holes in them, and everybody had their own camera. And we walked around and we took pictures. And and the reason I mention this is like 3 weeks ago, I got a text from my nephew, who is now in his 40s, with a picture of a cream cheese box going, "Remember when you made us all those cameras?"
Oh,
and I was like,
that is so,
I love that.
I know. Every mother, every grandmother watching this show is going, "Oh, yes."
But I didn't need anything electronic, funky, battery operated.
Yeah.
Just want to say, I loved Barbies.
Yes.
I heard your thing earlier.
Yeah.
I loved Barbies.
So did I.
I didn't look at them as having
Neither
weird
did I.
proportions.
No.
And I played with Barbies probably 2 years later than I probably should.
Oh my gosh. My best friend Annie Scognomiglio and I, we would get our Barbies out and our midge and Skipper and
favorite.
My gosh. And it was hours. Hours, and I was just dressing them, undressing them, changing. Now we're going to do that. Oh, yeah.
Filled our bathtub with water, and we had a swimming pool, and we had the Barbie camper. My sisters and I, and we had a small hill at the top of our driveway, and we would ride the Barbie camper down and then go camping with the Barbies.
Well, I had this little doodad thing. It was almost like remember the old potholder maker things that you had? Well, this thing was kind of on that idea. It was about as technologically, advanced as something like that. But you could make kind of like crochet, but it wasn't really crocheting with this little item, doodad. Dresses. They were really just like tube dresses.
Yes.
So really it was just like a tube of, thread or whatever, yarn. And they fit Barbie dolls. So you could, slip it on and it would just be like a strapless, dress.
Tube
And
dress,
and the thing was, it was just, you can make different colors and everything. I mean, do you know how many tube dresses my Barbie doll had? Because, my friend Annie and I must have made like a zillion of them.
Listen, the
coolest thing ever.
The wide rubber bands became a bikini top.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we didn't have the dream house, so we kind of made our own.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
we had it just, but we both had siblings that had played with blocks and Legos and all that. So we made all kinds of houses and stuff like that. That was hours of fun.
It was.
I think I still have some of my Barbie stuff. I got to get it's up in the attic, and I'm hoping it's not ruined. But I still have like the original Barbie cases. The cases that it came in, the little hangers.
Yes.
And somebody had said to me, "Oh, Tina, that's probably worth it." I mean,
valuable.
it was from the '60s,
right?
Because that's when I was playing with my Barbies. And now that I know the history, I didn't realize that Barbie had only come out in 1959. So I was, I was about 6, 7, 8. So I was on the, I was on the cusp of
the cutting edge.
I know, the cutting edge. That's why, I didn't get to it last week. It was really her birthday was really last week, but I thought, I did all this research, and Barbies were so cool back then. We got to talk about it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So anyway, all right. Listen, now that we've talked about Josie, we've talked about Barbies. We should probably talk about nutrition. But before we do that, because it's already 7:14, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. My guest this morning is Jen Jafune, and I promise we actually are going to talk about nutrition and nutritional buzzwords. So that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. So we are playing. I wanted to play a couple of Irish tunes because, of course, tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my little Irish thing here today. So we played the Saw Doctors. So that was, we played Joyce Country Cayley Band, which is one of my favorites. And I want to go again to sort of this extreme opposite. And I want to play something by Celtic Woman, one of my favorite groups. And this is called Homeland. It's just beautiful. So we will be back. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15.
This is my homeland, my heart is here. These are the voices I long to hear. No matter how far I may roam, I have a homeland, I have a When the sun goes down in the evening light,
Community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning. Westfield is 720. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. I really hope you enjoyed that song. I really love that. It's Homeland by Celtic Woman, and they have great music. So, but
weather update. It was clearing, and then the fog rolled back in. Heavy.
Yes, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, we're seeing blue sky for a minute, and then I watched Spark Square, and then here I was like, wow.
You know what, Pete? I don't know if this means anything, but when I left was pulling out of my driveway today, and I don't know if did either one of you see the moon? I mean, it's not quite full, but it's almost full. But it had this amazing ring around it. It was like blue and then red. And I should have just taken a picture of it because it was really cool. I had never seen anything like it. It was so, it wasn't just that the moon, it was this ring. And of course, with the fog, it was kind of hazy. It was a photographer's delight, I'm sure. All right, so my guest this morning is Jen Jafune, registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist, and the topic of the day is nutritional buzzwords. So I am going to briefly introduce this and then turn this over to Jen. So this got started, Jen, because Gary and I watch Jeopardy every night, and so I kept seeing the same commercial, and it was one of those things where you just see it and you just let it go, and all of a sudden I said, wait a minute. So I think it was a commercial. I don't remember the food product, honestly. I think it was some kind of a yogurt. And it was this whole thing about probiotics. And, it has probiotics. And so I kind of looked over at Gary and I said, is this something that I need? Like, what? I don't even know what a probiotic is. And why do they keep telling me that this is so important? And then Gary and I started making a list of all these things that we see on television or we hear, our fellow employees talking about over the water cooler, well, I'm on the keto diet and I'm gluten-free, but even though I don't have celiac disease. And, you start to wonder, it's like, should I be doing these things? And are they important? Would they be helpful? Are they healthy? Or is some of this marketing hype, where do we stand on this? So, excuse me. So I of course, Jenna, as you know, I sent you an email and said, I think this is what we need to talk about. And the funny thing is I had a list of about 10 and you came up with at least another 15.
Right. So there are a lot of them.
Right, there are. So we're going to start with probiotics. So take it away.
Okay. So probiotics, the actual definition of a probiotic is that it's a good bacteria. I don't know, when we originally started talking about probiotics, it was because we have a gut microbiota, which is the environment that everything in our digestive tract lives in.
Okay.
So it's like a microcosm of a community.
Okay.
So I think that's where biotic came from.
Okay.
And probiotic means that it's good for you. So really, it should just be called the good bacteria, but we give things names, so it's probiotics.
Well, first of all, if you call it the good bacteria, even though good sounds great, bacteria sounds scary. Yeah, exactly.
Because when you think of bacteria, it's like, oh, quick, better go wash my hands.
Right, get a disobfectant, get a sanitizer. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So there is good bacteria, and what happens is probiotics are live organisms.
Okay.
And they live in our digestive tract. And by living there, they are fed by what we eat, and they produce chemicals that help our bodies function.
Okay.
And it's what's the right word? It's like a symbiotic relationship. And it's positive. They continue to live and we live healthier.
Okay.
So we started to study it.
Okay.
We, meaning science, started to study it. And I have always known for many, many years, not always, but many years, that having a balanced community in my digestive tract will help with my digestive tract functioning well. But we have learned so much more. We have learned that it can help with blood sugar control.
Okay.
So that's where it plays into helping people with diabetes.
Okay.
It can help with our immune system. It can help with cholesterol control. It can help with inflammation, diarrhea. Because there are people, everybody gets diarrhea, but there are people who have it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Day in, day out. It can help. I've got my little list here.
That's fine.
People with lactose intolerance, it can help them.
Okay.
People who are trying to lose weight, and anyone who's taken an antibiotic knows that they need to replenish their good bacteria, because antibiotics, meaning against, biotic, meaning that community, will get rid of everything.
Yes.
It's not selective, and it doesn't go, oh, bad bacteria out. It goes all bacteria out.
Yes.
So we need our probiotics to be moved back into the neighborhood. So
that I knew, but I didn't really know why. I just know that when I'm on antibiotics, and I think for a lot of women, you'll end up with vaginal irritation and so forth,
yeast
and
infections
yeast infections and things like that. And I can remember a nurse saying to me, "Oh, well, make sure you're eating yogurt." And I said, really? Okay. But I didn't really know why, but it worked. It was like, okay, yep, I'm on the antibiotic. I'm having yogurt. My infection's going away. And I
because you're
deal with
putting
my
back
yeast
in
stuff.
the part of the good stuff that was removed. But, taking it one step further, I was like, okay, so I understand that science says that it's good for all of these things, but what's it actually do?
Right.
How does eating yogurt and having a good bacteria set up in my digestive tract neighborhood help diabetes? Because, if we think of diabetes, that's in our blood. Blood sugar gets in, and we need it to combine with the insulin. How does that work? What does it actually do? So I looked it up. But,
good.
So what happens is, if there's an imbalance in the neighborhood, or we're missing some of the good bacteria, we can develop a greater insulin resistance. So insulin resistance means if you eat something with a carbohydrate, fruit, veggies, bread, grain, rice, cereal, milk, yogurt, basically anything but fat and meat, it gets those carbohydrates get broken down into sugars, and the sugar then gets absorbed into the blood, so you have sugar. Your body is supposed to make an equal amount of insulin, hook it up together, put it into the cells. I pretend that it looks like a little gas nozzle. It's fuel. Open up the gas cap of the cell, pump the fuel in. Insulin resistance means you can't open the gas cap and put the fuel in. So having a poor community of bacteria.
Digestive neighborhood.
I
like the neighborhood concept.
Thank you. I thought of that this morning. Will increase our insulin resistance.
Okay.
The other thing is the insulin resistance will affect the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus will in turn increase your food intake, because it thinks there's not enough fuel going around. It decreases your ability to sense that you're feeling full, so you eat more, and then you gain weight. And we all know that when you gain weight, you have a harder time with insulin resistance.
Exactly. So it's almost like this cycle that starts.
Yes, exactly.
And you know what's interesting to me about that, Jen, is, and Gary and I have talked about this so many times at home, is how interconnected all of these things are. You can't separate out.
No.
Gary's reading a book now on the gut-brain connection. And it's, just been fascinating. He's been filling me in on some things. And, you don't think it's like my brain and what I'm eating, like how is that connected? This is up here, this is down here.
Right.
This is lower half of the body, this is upper half of the body. But, all of these things are connected. And then you start in with these cycles of, you get into this almost like a catch-22.
Right.
So
it's kind of like when you get something from IKEA, you assemble it and you've got one piece left.
Right.
It is going to impact the whole piece you just put together. I don't know how, but it will, because all the parts are needed.
Yep.
And the same thing is true with your body.
Yeah.
So
let's, it's 7:30. Let's take a little break because then, and I'm not sure where you wanted to go. I guess my next question would be, well, then where do we get probiotics or how do we get
the
them?
next part.
Okay. So let's take a little break. We're going to listen to, I thought this was really kind of cool and it's a little nutritional based, but today's the birthday of Anna Atkins. So she was a botanist and did a lot with photography and so forth and plants. So we're going to listen to this song by Matt Brown. It's called Plant Mama. But I also thought, well, that's kind of, I've got nutritionists on the show. We're talking about healthy eating and so forth. So I thought that was appropriate. So you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
So I can grow. Then talk to me and let me know that you feel the life inside. Every time I see your eyes, you don't forget to call my name. You notice every time I change colors at the end of leaves. Exactly what I need, because you're a plant mama, plant mama. You hold me down at the root and light my way with sunny views. Plant mama, plant mama. I just wanna bloom with you. Dig your fingers in my soil. Your touch has always been so loyal. In my vine, I can feel you in my vine. And baby, you make me feel fine. Baby, you make me feel fine. You show me off to all your friends. Show me off to all your friends. Smile with me behind the lens. Click, click, picture, picture. Love gives me a healthy hue. Love gives me a healthy hue. The sun can't shine as bright as you, because you're a plant mama. Now I just wanna bloom with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. I just wanna be with you, baby. I just wanna bloom with you. Let's bloom. Eternity. I just wanna bloom with you, because you're a plant mama, plant mama. You hold me down at the root and light my way with sunny views. Plant mama, plant mama. I just wanna bloom with you, baby. You're a plant mama, plant mama. You hold me down at the root and light my way with sunny views. Plant mama, plant mama. Now I just wanna bloom with you. I love to grow with you for eternity.
I love the thought of us being evergreen. That's why I'm planning on giving you this ring, 'cause I just wanna bloom with you. I love to grow with you for eternity. I love the thought of us being evergreen. That's why I'm down here right now on bended knee, 'cause I just wanna bloom with you.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. This is our segment of Diabetes Dialogue, which is actually good for anyone with diabetes, anyone who is related to someone with diabetes, and for all people who do not have diabetes but just want to learn about good nutrition. So our focus for the next month at least, if not more, are nutritional buzzwords, and some of those things that we see on television, we see it in the commercials, we hear about things, we hear about these words, and we're not sure is that really important to us. So the topic today, because this is what started this whole ball rolling, is probiotics.
Yep.
And now I'm learning about a new word, which is prebiotics. But before we get to that, Jen, you explained a little bit about why probiotics are important. So now I think I've been convinced. So this is something that is important. It is good for me. It's not just a marketing hype. But now my question is, how do I get probiotics into my diet? So that's where our registered dietitian, Jen DeFuna, is going to take us there.
Okay, so probiotics are good bacteria, are found most often in things that are fermented.
Okay.
So that's why yogurt comes to mind. And that's how it was originally introduced to us in the United States.
Okay.
So if you look at any yogurt label and you see the phrase live and active cultures, that means good bacteria is in there.
Okay.
You can read the ingredient list and you will see very long words like lactobacillus, acidophilus, things like that. They all are the good bacteria.
Okay.
And good bacteria lives comfortably in a dairy base. So you'll see it in, sometimes you'll find acidophilus milk.
Oh, yes.
You will see it in yogurt. You can see it in some cheeses that aren't heat treated. You can see it in buttermilk. So good bacteria likes dairy.
Okay, good to know.
And when you're on an antibiotic, that's why they always say make sure you eat plenty of yogurt.
Yeah.
But let's say you don't like yogurt, or you don't drink milk, or you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
You can also get it in other places that don't even remotely make you think of milk. So you might find it in sauerkraut. Or you can find it in, I brought an example.
Okay.
Kombucha.
Yep.
So kombucha is fermented tea.
Oh, okay.
And I buy these at the supermarket.
Okay.
And
that looks like it's some kind of a flavor.
This is blood orange.
Okay.
I have to say that we have yet to find one that tastes delicious.
Okay.
But
being honest,
a way to get some good bacteria in. And the only thing about the kombucha, you have to be careful. I buy the ones that have no caffeine or very low caffeine. So some can have a super high amount of caffeine. So
Okay.
I'm always at the supermarket Googling if I can't find the brands I know are low caffeine, how much caffeine is in it, because it doesn't say it on the label.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Wow.
So, I found a few brands that I know are okay, and I can get them at any of the supermarkets in the area.
Okay.
Other things, fermented cabbage doesn't just come as sauerkraut. It comes as kimchi, which is an Asian version of fermented cabbage. And so if you like soury flavors, kombucha, kimchi, kefir. Kefir is a middle ground between milk and yogurt. It's like a thicker milk or a thinner yogurt, and it has almost a bubbly sensation like a seltzer to it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where does one find that?
I find it right where the yogurts are. It usually comes in a bottle.
Okay. And what's it called, Jen?
Kefir. 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 That's how I say it.
Okay. Kefir.
You can find it in pickled foods. Now, this was pretty specific. Pickled foods from a brine or salt pickling, not vinegar. So I didn't have a chance to run to the supermarket this morning.
Yep, that's okay.
It was too early.
Yep. And too foggy.
Yes. I have these garlic half sour pickles in my fridge, and it said brine, but it also, in the brine, it explained that there was vinegar. So I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'll have to do some more research on that.
So we can check that out.
Yep. Tempeh is a vegan version of a protein, so you can find it in there. Anything that's been fermented is a great way to get your probiotics in, and on a daily basis. You also get other nutrients. So, for example, if you eat a yogurt, you're getting calcium.
Right.
You're getting protein.
Yeah.
You're getting B vitamins. So, it's what's great about foods are that you get not only the thing you're looking for, but you get a whole host of other nutrients.
Right.
Which is why I always encourage foods first. However, having said that, you can also take a probiotic pill. So I brought one of my favorites. It is called Yarodophilus.
Okay.
And Yarodophilus is shelf stable, so you don't have to keep it in the fridge. There's a probiotic I like also called Solare, and the only problem I have with it is you have to keep it in the fridge. And you forget.
So,
it's not with all your other pills.
I know, right? So let me ask you something. If you are taking a probiotic in pill form, is there a certain time of the day? Should you take it with a meal, after a meal, before a meal, morning, evening? Does it not matter? Or
it's a great question, and I don't have a great answer other than there are no, there are certain nutrients that are best to take with a meal, before or after.
Right.
I have yet to find anything that says probiotics need that timing.
Okay.
So,
and is it like a once a day?
It's a once a day.
Okay.
And probiotic pills come in, some things come in milligrams, something comes in IU.
Right.
These come in CFU. And I've always known that, and I looked it up, and what that I've always known CFU. I didn't know
but what
it
does it
stood
mean?
for.
Yeah.
It stands for colony forming units, which makes sense because the colony is what you're trying to build up in your digestive tract.
Right.
And they come in billions. 5 to 10 billion is the lowest, and I've seen it as high as 50. And the thing is, just like any medication, the doctor says you need X medication, they always start you on the lowest dose.
Right.
And see how you tolerate it, see if it's working there, make sure you're not allergic to it. And then if it's not, you bump up a little. That's how I talk to my patients, and how I always do things myself is I always start with the lowest dose and work my way up. And you will know when you've had too much, because it will probably lead to diarrhea.
Well, that was my question. I think anybody, and I've had, a history of digestive issues since I was in college. And I feel like at this stage of my life, I manage everything quite well. I've learned how to, kind of manage this whole thing. And I'm always nervous when I either have to take a medication, whether it's an over-the-counter, which I don't do that very often, or a prescription med, or I'm always leery about trying some kind of a new food. I think that's what scared me when I saw probiotic. I'm thinking, is this going to be like, am I going to end up in the bathroom? Am I going to, it's like, everything's pretty stable right now. So where are we going to go with this? And I think that was my question. Is there too much?
Too much of the pills will lead to diarrhea.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I have yet to find someone who says, I ate 2 quarts of yogurt. Like people don't overdo sauerkraut.
Right.
So, it falls in line, at least from my experience. And, I've been in practice 35 years, so I've seen a lot. You can overconsume, for example, vitamin A, but really we don't see many people who overeat it. I've known one person in 35 years who ate so many carrots they turned a little bit tinged orange, but in most cases you can't overdo it.
I'm a carrot lover. People have told me that.
I am too, but if you have, for example, lung cancer and you take excessive amounts of vitamin A, it will work against you. So, but you can eat foods with vitamin A without concern.
Right.
So,
okay.
So those are two, from either foods like the kombucha, like sauerkraut, like yogurt, or from the pills. There's another probiotic pill that I do like, I'll mention, and it's PB8. So P as in Paul, B as in butter.
And the number 8.
And the number 8.
Okay.
That one, unfortunately, is also a refrigerator one.
Okay.
So if you're the kind of person who is, out of sight, out of mind, get a shelf-stable one. And I like all of these probiotic pills have different combinations of a variety of the good bacteria. There's no, you need X and Y and Z in your probiotic. You need a colony, so you need a lot of different ones. Variety is great. So I'm not choosing these because I know the makeup is perfect for everyone, but I have found that they work well for most people. So
that sounds good.
So you make this community. Or you're building your good bacteria garden. You have to take care of it, and the way to take care of it is to feed it the food that it likes in order for it to flourish.
Okay, and that is going to be our good little stopping point for right now, so we can take our quarter-hour break, because when we come back, we can talk more about how you feed that probiotic garden that you have going on there in your gut. It is 7:46. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Jerry Lewis, we're going to play The Money Song by Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. We'll be right back.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Ask the rich man, he'll confess, money can't buy happiness. Ask the poor man, he don't doubt, but he'd rather be miserable with than without. If you spend it, please be wiser. If you save it, you're a miser. You don't want it, you're cuckoo. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
Oh, shut up, Jerry. What are you doing?
I'm singing.
This is singing?
Don't you like it?
No, I don't like it. Do you want to sing with me?
Can I sing with you?
Sure you can.
All right.
If I do not need it badly,
Banks will give it to you gladly.
But I need it.
Nuts to you.
Funny, funny, funny what money can do. If I'm lucky and I make it,
you'll be frightened.
Well, who can take it?
the internal revenue.
Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Birds don't got it, still they sing.
Eating winds up on the wing.
Ideal life, some folks affirm.
So okay, you're a bird, but suppose you're a worm.
It's a bad thing, oh yes, very.
Full of germs, unsanitary.
Will you have some?
Oh, thank you.
Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
Serendipita le carissime catele pesos.
Si un gana, un gabiananga yen.
Yen, ma che sti fa che lo yen? It's lire.
Geld, all right?
If I got it,
who's got it?
I don't need it.
But I need it.
If you need it,
and I need it.
You don't got it.
But I want it.
You can't get it. Shame on you.
What can I do?
Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it,
where'd they get it?
Get more of it.
Can they keep
the
it?
The less they need it.
Who don't need
the
it?
The more they love it.
And how they love it.
And it sticks to them like glue.
Ooh.
Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Money, money, we love you. Funny, funny, funny what you can do.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And in the studio with me this morning is Jen Jafune, our licensed nutritionist, registered dietitian. We are talking nutritional buzzwords, and we're starting with probiotics. And we've talked about why they are good for us and they are necessary. And we've talked about kind of what to eat, possibly taking some nutritional probiotic supplements. But Jen, you also started to talk about this analogy of this garden that you have, this probiotic garden, and that needs to be fed. It needs to be nurtured.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Okay, so I do want to throw in one thing. Before you ever start anything, like a probiotic or anything else, I would run it by the doctor or the pharmacist.
Okay.
The pharmacist can go, oh, hey, you're on X, Y, and Z medications.
Good point.
Probably not a good choice. Talk to the doctor first.
Okay.
Most likely it's fine because it's part of a treatment plan.
Right.
But I always caution people before they start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've got this garden, and anyone who's grown anything knows you have to feed it in order to make it flourish. So we also have a new buzzword, and that is prebiotic. So these, as I said, I wish they wouldn't name them these things, but basically a prebiotic is the food the good bacteria eats. So we can consume foods that are prebiotics, even though you don't see a stamp on it that says prebiotic. So and they're not things that people have never heard of. They're common foods.
So they're things that we would find in the grocery store.
Right. Asparagus, which is about to come in season. So that's a good thing. Things like bananas, cabbage. So not only can you have your sauerkraut, but you can also have your cabbage with your corned beef tomorrow.
There
and
you go.
Know that you're feeding your good bacteria with the healthy prebiotics. Garlic is on there. Leeks, legumes, so dried peas and beans, kidney beans, lentils, stuff like that. Oatmeal. which I'm always recommending, or onions or mushrooms. So common foods, if you consume one of these a day, you're providing food for your good bacteria.
Okay.
There are also prebiotics added to foods, processed foods.
Okay.
And the thing is, not all of them are, again, stamped with the label prebiotic.
Right.
I mean, their marketing department is making a mistake not doing that.
Right.
But there are
somebody will catch on to that, Jen.
There are terms or ingredients that no one would know is a prebiotic unless they have the list in front of them.
Right.
You can check your ingredient list, and these are really difficult long words. Galacto-oligosaccharides. I wouldn't look at that and go, hey, that's a prebiotic. I'd look at that and go, I'm not eating that.
I think I want to avoid that, right?
If I can't pronounce that, I'm not eating it.
Can't pronounce it, can't spell it. It's, it's 25 letters long.
Right.
Forget it.
Yeah. Fructo-oligosaccharide, oligofructose. So anytime anyone sees the word fructose, they automatically think bad because of high fructose corn syrup. But in this case, it's good because it's not high fructose corn syrup. It's a prebiotic. Chicory fiber and inulin. So So you can look at an ingredient list, and if you see these terms, you'll know that, this is a good way to feed my good bacteria garden.
Okay.
You will find the chicory fiber and the inulin in a lot of products made for diabetes and weight loss. So I don't have any of the products with me, but often if you see like a bar for weight loss or diabetes,
like a power bar or something like that. Okay.
It's going to have, if it's low calorie or low carb, it'll have inulin or chicory fiber in it.
Okay.
So, most of the times I preach, if you don't know what that ingredient is, you've never heard of it, you can't pronounce it, or there's 45 ingredients in this product, it's really probably a poor choice. But if you're really struggling to find a prebiotic to feed your good bacteria, and you can't or choose not to eat any of the prebiotic foods, which are not processed and are readily available.
Which would be you would obviously suggest
your
that
best
as your
choice.
first choice. Yeah.
Yep. You can also find it often in these processed foods.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
So we are feeding our probiotic garden that we have going, and so I've learned a lot.
Good.
So I've learned that it's not all hype,
right?
And you know what's interesting to me is because I am a yogurt person. Gary loves yogurt. We do a lot of smoothies. He does a couple smoothies a week. So because I've noticed some of the yogurt says probiotic on it,
right? Some
Some of it doesn't. But what you're saying is that if it has live cultures, is that right?
It says live and active cultures.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll have, so I'm guessing the other stuff just has more, extra probiotics if it says probiotic
No,
on it, or
I
not
think it's a
necessarily.
marketing
It's just a market. That part of it is a marketing
Yeah.
thing. So pretty much any yogurt with live cultures is going to fit the bill.
Right. About 20, 30 years ago, it was, I don't know if you remember the Dannon yogurt commercials with the people from Georgia, not Georgia in the United States, but Georgia in the Soviet
Union.
Where everyone was living 100 years old.
I do. I remember that.
They were eating yogurt with live and active cultures, and we had never heard of that in our country.
Okay.
And that became their big marketing thing. And then other yogurt companies are going, hey, wait a minute, we put that stuff in our yogurt too. So
our people are living to be 101 or 105.
Yeah, so we not all yogurts say live and active cultures, but almost all of them are live and active cultures. If you add the good bacteria and then you heat things up, you can destroy some of the some of the good bacteria. Okay. So they test it to make sure there's some live and active cultures in there.
Okay, got it.
So that's what that means.
Got it. And Jen, just quickly, because we have about 2 minutes left, if people, there are just some people that are not like big yogurt eaters, is there a way to sneak it into things where you wouldn't necessarily taste that yogurty taste? Are there recipes
you can
and things?
always sneak yogurt in. Plain yogurt is a great substitute for things like buttermilk.
I've used it in replacement of sour cream. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
even with dessert, I, might use yogurt instead of like a cream thing. But it doesn't have to just be yogurt.
Yeah.
You could shred some cabbage. Well, that would be prebiotic. I
think of something like a smoothie, which Gary's a big smoothie thing because I used to always get vanilla yogurt.
Yeah.
Gary said, I think you just get plain because I'm throwing all this fruit in there,
Right.
and it comes out this really pretty pinky purple. He puts blueberries. He'll put frozen blueberries, and that'll help to freeze it up and make it really cold.
Yeah, you could throw in any fruit.
And so
that
I
you
think
like.
he's saying it's like. It doesn't matter. I don't really need the flavor because just give me plain because, what the heck.
The kefir is good for something like that as well.
Kefir, yeah.
And if you're going to make anything with a batter, you can use buttermilk or you can use kefir.
Yep. You know what I've made that's really good? I haven't made it in a while, but Gary asked me the other day. I have a really good recipe for yogurt cornmeal pancakes.
Yeah.
And they are just absolutely delicious. And,
which would be perfect.
It's like you wouldn't, if I didn't tell you there was yogurt in there, you would have no idea.
Right.
Of course, you're putting a little jam or maple syrup or something. So, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I happen to love yogurt, so it's not a problem for me.
So.
But I do know some people that kind of stick away, stay away from it.
Sourdough bread.
Okay.
Sourdough bread is a great way to get some good bacteria in.
Perfect.
So, you can find it in things that aren't necessarily dairy-based.
Okay. All right. Well, that is a wrap. Jen DeFune, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
So next month, we're going to continue with our nutritional buzzwords. So honestly, there is this laundry list of all of these different, I was, Pete and I were talking about it before you came on. Joe Rouse last month started a segment with me on food safety. Mm-hmm. And we started with things like, when you look at something, if it says best if used by, expiration date, and then there were like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's like, what does that mean? Like best if used by, but does that mean I shouldn't use it the next day? And so, Joe's kind of helping us to understand that as well. So I think just trying to sort out some of this stuff because, what you initially think of when you see some of these things is not necessarily, what it means.
Right,
so,
right.
All right, we will continue with our nutritional buzzwords next month.
Great.
You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. We will be back next week. And speaking of Joe Rouse, he will be my guest on the 4th Wednesday of the month. I can't believe it's going to be the 4th Wednesday of the month.
Right.
Have a good one.
As I was riding over the far Kerry Mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced me pistol and then I drew me saber, saying stand and deliver, for I am a bold deceiver. Mushering your dab, whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I robbed Captain Farrell upon Kilgary Mountain. I took the golden Ginny for to help me with the counting. Ginny called the guards, God, I never seen so many. I nearly lost me freedom for me darling sporting Jenny. My shirring and Durham dab, whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I went up to my chamber, all for to take a slumber. I dreamed of golden jewels, but sure it was no wonder. For Jenny took me charges and filled them up with water, and sent for Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. My shirring and Durham dab, whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I'd like to find me brother, the one that's in the army. If I can find a station, be it Cork or in Killarney. And if he'll go with me, we'll go roaming in Kilkenny. And I swear he'd treat me better than me own dear sporting Jenny. My shirring and Durham dab, whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. There's some delight in fishing, and some delight in bowling, and some take delight in their carriages a-rolling. But I take delight in the juice of the barley, and Gordon girls in the morning, bright and early, mush-a-ring-a-doo-da. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar, mush-a-ring-a-doo-da. Whack for the daddy-o, whack for the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.